We'll talk.
Okay, thank you very
Please
much.
say hello to Jen.
I will do that. Okay.
Okay.
Bye bye.
因为他8点半要吃饭。
他是8点半吃饭。
对啊，他老婆就是 Jane 就会8点多就会煮饭，然后所以他都这个时间点要去吃晚餐，然后他就大家要一起吃晚餐。
哦，你怎么都那么熟？
我记得啊，因为上次也是同样的 scenario，你想让他在讲的时候，因为他其实就是要去吃晚餐。现在是他们的晚上8点半啊，所以他会约7点半，但是他8点半一定会卡掉这样。
Days ago, we just finished an MBSR class, and this lady told me that her husband had an affair. She was so sad about this, but they did not decide to get divorced. But she was unhappy since then. She asked me about reconciliation workshop, and of course I welcomed her to come, but somehow I felt that there was such a big event.
Yeah, betrayal. But that's a difficult one. Betrayal is very, very painful. Losing trust. My heart goes out to her. That's a painful thing, very painful. But even for someone like that, making peace to those that hurt me, and for her to begin to understand that what was inside him that led him to do this, his own suffering, his own fear, his own pain, his own conditioning. It doesn't excuse that action, but perhaps it brings some understanding for her. And at the same time, so long as she continues to harbor resentment and grudges, this will be a great suffering for her. But it's going to take time because there's been a betrayal of trust. And so he's going to have to earn that trust through his example if he is willing to really be sincere. And she'll know if he's being sincere or not. And hopefully this can work out. But he's got to also acknowledge his betrayal and try to make amends and earn it. He's got to earn that trust. It's not just, as you say, lip service. You got to earn it. When trust is broken like that, it's very difficult to repair, but not impossible if he's really sincere about wanting to make amends and feeling the shame and the pain that he caused his wife. But he too also had a lot of suffering. Like, what made him do that? And again, for him to look at, I think the deeper question for all of us in practice is, where is happiness to be found? Is it inside? Is it outside? And I keep on looking outside for something, but it never stays. But if they both are dedicated to want to work on it, they can earn that trust. They can heal, but it will take time. I'm glad that she went to your class and was able to be honest and share her deep pain, and that you could listen deeply and care for her.
At least she starts to be alive.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's very easy to block all the feelings or sensations. Sometimes when people are getting hurt, they do not want to see it. They want to avoid it.
That's right. So you have to advertise very clearly. This is about entering into our own pain. This retreat is about looking at the places where you're hard on yourself and looking at the places where you've caused pain for another. This is not for the faint of heart. We have to advertise in that way. This is reconciliation begins with making peace with ourselves, making peace to those I've hurt, making peace to those that hurt me, making peace with the way things are in life. This is what we're working on. This is the focus of this retreat. And so people need to be well informed that this is what we're going to be doing. And I've done many retreats like this. It's a powerful retreat.
So we've learned, or we've been conditioning for so many years, the process of unlearned. Can it happen in just 2 days?
No, it can't. It's a lifetime. But then again, who knows? Everyone's different. This is learning a practice, and one can become more mindful of, oh, wow, here's this narrative that I live with all the time that is like a tyrant. If I said to my friends and family what I say to myself, I wouldn't have friends and family anymore because I would be such a mean person. This is not a, hey, let's practice mindfulness and you'll get all fixed in 2 seconds and then be happy. You guys are involved in this work of breaking that myth that mindfulness is just about being happy. And well, I'll just take a mindfulness class and then I'll be happy forever. Like, no, but right. But we're working on it.
Yeah, we are trying very hard to let people know that mindfulness is not just 1 second and happy.
So yeah, people that come on this retreat, they will begin to probably investigate more deeply, where are the places inside me that I'm hard on myself? Or where, oh, here's all the places that I've caused some pain to another. Oh, here's the resentments that the people get more aware of these things that are inside that are actually causing all the stress and suffering and pain in life.
And people are hurting each other all the time in all ways.
These are very universal. Times to myself, times I've hurt others, times others have hurt me, and making peace with this life. It's all interconnected. Very noble work. That's correct. If their intention is there, it's very strong. It's very beautiful. We can't say it's going to happen, but it's the beginning of a journey.
Even if there's some hate.
Whatever it is. But if there's an intention to want to heal their hate, so that if they're open, like the 9 dots, open to seeing from another perspective. And yes, there could be a lot of hate, but also that hate is causing so much pain and suffering inside. And I just want some relief. Yeah. It's like carrying an extra 100 pounds on your shoulders day in and day out. It's painful.
I don't care about how pain I felt. I care about how painful the other one felt.
Yeah, so someone like that, they may not help because they're not interested.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to punish. They probably have good reasons for feeling that, but maybe in time they'll come to realize it's too heavy a load to carry. But maybe it's not the right time. There's a Native American saying, if you walk in my shoes, then you'll understand more about what I'm living with. And so whether it's generational divide or philosophical divide or whatever divide it is, it involves a sense of trying to understand where another person is. But probably even more important is, what is it about you and your conditioning that you're getting activated? And so we're coming back to the person, whether you're young or old, I don't care. Like, what is getting activated inside you? Because you're carrying around some story that old people are this or that, or whatever. What's your story? And so let's investigate from that side. Because we're the ones that are creating our own heaven and hell through our own thoughts, not anyone else. So what's getting activated inside you? And perhaps as we understand that, like, oh, this is reminding me because older people have always just told me what to do and they're not listening to me and I'm kind of angry and whatever. But like, we want to understand what's the root of why there is that there. As we understand it, that may give us a little bit more space than we did if we didn't understand it. How do we begin to meet it more wisely? So we can navigate it more skillfully. So we need to know ourselves.
So it is like a huge inner work.
That's right. An inside job. Well, I can think of one person. I remember this is a dramatic story where she, because of her upbringing, she had a very low opinion of herself. And as we understood her more, she said that the only thing that she would ever remember about what her mother told her was, I wish I never had you. And so that's a kind of a big story. And so she kind of believed that she wasn't worth anything and lived that way in her story about herself. And as Jen and I worked with her, her professional career was, she was a certified nurse midwife. She actually has helped give birth to like 1,000 or more babies. And so we helped her to realize that maybe she actually was okay. I'm simplifying it a lot, but it was a very powerful story of her beginning. There was this opening where she, wait a minute, had this belief that I won't amount to anything and I should even be on this planet because I wish I never had you. Is quite a horrible thing to say to someone. But she began to feel her own humility and kindness, her compassion for herself.
These are really touching. Thank you.
But we're all conditioned. We don't even know that we're conditioned until we begin to wake up.
So many years, to learn all of these stories.
Yes, so many. But the thing is, we didn't come in this way. Look at all infants. They don't have shame and humiliation. They don't have prejudice, bias, shame about their bodies. If I get my 21-month-old, if he's got to poop in front of you, he don't care. He'll just poop, he'll burp, he'll laugh, he'll pee. Like, we came in this way. There's a story of, I think I've even told it on a retreat in Taiwan, of I have a friend of mine that there's this Western fairy tale about this King Midas. Everything he touched, cup, whatever, he could turn things into gold. So his name was King Midas, but my friend's father used to call my friend growing up, instead of King Midas, he said King Minus. Minus means subtraction. King Minus, everything you touch breaks. It doesn't turn to gold, it breaks. So this is the type of conditioning that he was brought up in this environment, that he's a negative and everything he touched breaks. This is, you imagine how it affects your self-worth. Fortunately to say, through the practice of meditation, he's discovered his beautiful qualities. He's no longer a King Minus. Actually, he's a King Midas. Everything you touch turns into blessings. He's a beautiful person. But we come in with these stories and we believe them to be true because we don't know any better. Terrible stories, people being told won't amount to anything, they're clumsy, they're stupid. Of course, as we gain more awareness, we see, oh, this is a story that I've been telling myself, and that's not all of me. We want to understand why we have to do self-compassion. Mindfulness is more powerful. If we're hard on ourselves and we just put our hand on our heart, that's good. But we need to understand why it is that I have to put my hand on my heart, because I'm walking around with this story that I'm damaged goods, that I'm not a good person, that I'm unworthy, that I'm inadequate. So we're going to be bringing our mindfulness to begin to investigate the stories that I tell myself, that I believe in. As we understand this more, yes, there might be a gesture towards greater self-compassion, of course.
What's the difference between reconcile and forgive?
It'd be interesting to understand more the Chinese translation, and is there a difference? And in English, there's a difference. In our Western world, forgiveness sometimes has the idea of that you have to forgive someone. Just like sometimes, like in the meditation world, we speak about the difference between accepting what's here and acknowledging what's here. And sometimes acceptance is like implying that you have to be okay with it, where acknowledging is acknowledging even what you're not okay with. So in the same way, sometimes forgiveness is like kind of like this. Sometimes people have this understanding, it's like I have to forgive, but it's not so easy to forgive. Like you just can't make up your mind and forgive, just like you can't make up your mind and let go. Even though you might tell yourself 1,000 times, let go doesn't happen. But if I learn to let be, maybe gradually I can let it go. So perhaps through the practices of reconciling, acknowledging the resentment that you are living with and realizing how much painful it is to carry it, through this practice of reconciliation, I might begin to soften, maybe perhaps in time move towards a place of forgiveness. Don't know. But it's just movement towards wanting to stop the fight, stop the pain. So forgiveness has more of, in some ways, it's almost like a commandment, like you have to forgive, but reconcile is a little bit, it's softer. I'm in a relationship with my suffering and my pain and wanting to understand it more to make peace. So that's my attempt at what in Chinese. I'm curious. I'd love to hear more what that is.
It seems like forgive is a lot wider and also deeper.
The forgiveness?
Yeah, if the forgiveness is true, but forgiveness might not be true. Sometimes we say, okay, I forgive this one, but that's only the mouth, not the heart.
Yeah.
But if we do it like the heart, the mind, the body, and the action, then it will be very powerful. It seems like reconcile is not so heavy. It's a little bit lighter.
Mm-hmm.
Get closer to the one who was hurt or who felt hurt, not so far away. Forgive is a little bit far away. It seems like a wonderful goal or a way to be a good person.
I feel pretty similar. Forgive is kind of like the final goal or like the final step, but making peace or reconciling, it's more like a really gentle process. Yeah. I know the direction. I'm not particularly grasping the goal of forgiveness.
Yeah, I think that we're very resonant with each other with the definitions. And yes, it would be, if it's a true forgiveness, it's deep, it's beautiful, but it's not like it can have, so we have to earn it. So maybe the practice of reconciling leads towards that possibility.
And also similar question is for about reconciliation and acceptance. When I reconcile, and then it means I have to accept
The reconciling maybe is more closer to like acknowledge, like I'm reconciling that, wow, I'm still harboring a lot of resentment here, and I'm acknowledging it. And that may lead again to some type of acceptance and some letting go. But actually, I like the idea of it's reminding me, these are more like verbs, the reconciling, the making peace. So these are like, it's working in a process where forgiveness it's done. But we're in a process that's maybe leading towards forgiveness. It might be enough just to reconcile with the way things are. So I guess you'll splice together what you want here, and you have your master that can do all that with the video. So I think this is good enough, good general picture. Other than I look forward to seeing everybody.